Hello, it's Julia. Today I want to talk about the fear of starting a new sketchbook, or sometimes it's also the fear of having a blank page, not knowing where you start. And I certainly had this fear at some point. Well, let me tell you a secret. I used to be really afraid of making art in sketchbooks. And I I was a real perfectionist and I didn't want to make mistakes in my sketchbook. I thought that my sketchbook would be ruined by a bad drawing, and when I did illustration work for um, clients or for personal projects, then I prefer to work on loose paper so I could, toss it out when it didn't meet my standards. And I'm telling you this because I'm sure many of you know this feeling, and all it does really is it keeps us from being creative and from expressing ourselves on paper and from exploring. And I have only learned in the last year how to embrace the sketchbook as a medium with the help of nature journaling and a few other strategies that I'd like to share today in this video. And this has really helped me transform my sketchbook from a place that I rarely visited or that I could only face when I felt good enough to a fun and exciting place that I visit almost every day. So there are a few practical tips that might help with getting started, getting over this initial fear. And this might be to not start on the first page, but on the second page. So let's actually pretend that this is a new sketchbook. So if you see it like this, then initially your thought might be, oh no, I don't want to ruin it. So one strategy might be to open it on the second page, and it could just be a mark or a quick small sketch, something little easy. This way, when you start on the second page with a less important page, then you can come back to the important first page later and make your mark there. Also, keep in mind that your first few sketches for the day will be warm-up drawings, and they will likely not turn out as well as your later sketches. Happens to me all the time. So even if you draw every day, your eyes and hand need warm-up practice too. So consider this if you feel bad about your drawing or painting skills. A little project that I started recently is to make these small weather thumbnails on the first page of my sketchbook. And these are small watercolor sketches, just impressions on how the weather looked on that particular day. So it has, I always keep the date and the time, so it has a slightly scientific touch, which goes well with nature journaling. And this way I fill up the first page bit by bit and I document the weather. And it's a really fun technique, and I always tell everyone that they should try it. If you're just starting with nature journaling, just give it a try. It's really great. Another thing that you could do is to write your name and address or your phone number into the cover of a new sketchbook. So right here on the first page. This will also give you the feeling that you have used the sketchbook and that's not brand new anymore. And if you lose it, you might get your sketchbook back, which is also a really nice thing. Another strategy that you can try is making your sketchbook yourself, as in really binding the pages. And this is obviously what I did here. So this is my less than perfect attempt at making my own sketchbooks. I know this doesn't look really like a store-bought sketchbook, and that's essentially what I'm going for here. So I like to have a little bit more control over what papers I use. So I make these sketchbooks myself, and I have noticed that this works really great for me to get started with a sketchbook, because these sketchbooks, they seem less precious than the ones I buy in the store. There are many times when I got these like big fancy sketchbooks from the store and I thought, oh, I must create something really beautiful in there so that I want to keep it forever. And since I have these sketchbooks and actually make art in them, it's gotten so much easier, and I actually like to refer back to these sketchbooks a lot more. What you could also do is make a page with your palette or your pens and test them on the first page or on the last page. You could also paint your watercolor palette and all the pigments that you use. So particularly, I think I have, you could make these little color swatches or something like this color wheel, or experiment with different mixes. And this is just a really casual mixing page that I made the other day. So you could try this as a first step for your new sketchbook. And particularly when you tend to change your colors often in your palette and look back at your sketchbook later, then you will immediately see what kind of palette you were using. So some artists like to do this. And my final tip to you would be to really let go of the thought that your sketchbook needs to be this perfect portfolio of drawings, because it isn't. Your sketchbook is for learning, for experimenting. If you started nature journaling, it's for observing and experiencing the world around you and getting to know it better. And this is really the idea, to use your sketchbook as a tool and not as, this. It can also be this artistic expression, but it's a place of exploration and of trying things out. And this is what I like to think of it. So your sketchbook can really be whatever you want. So it doesn't have to be a place where you have to put pressure into. And you don't even have to show it to anyone. Okay? So your sketchbook is your thing, and you make what you want in it. And you can take back the control, so to say, over this sphere and really start exploring and making things. So I hope you enjoyed these tips. Let me know what topics you're interested in the comments. I'd really love to hear from you. I also have a blog on nature journaling and watercolors, so feel free to check this out if you want to know how to do this. Thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you soon. Bye.